Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. It's still Monday, March 17th, 2025, post market wrap up, and we have a lot to talk about. So let's see today. Despite home builder sentiment falling to an epic drop here in home builder sentiment, retail sales missing the mark, and a downgrade with regard to U.S. growth, the market finished higher. Um, it's really no surprise. The mechanism, in my view, is very simple. This market has fallen enough. And we heard from the Trump administration regarding the market. And I agree with what they said. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the timing of this new war was to stop the bleeding in the market. It really was. In my opinion, here, what's being set up is, I've been telling you this for many, many months here. Vast debt expansion on an epic scale. That's all that has kept this stock market afloat. It has nothing to do with ship attacks or Houthis or now we're going to hit Iran and it's what we need to do. It's all about debt expansion. It's about allowing central banks to inflate, become more powerful, and then use the mechanism of war, expanding war, as a scapegoat to switch us into a system of maximum control. Maximum control. That's where we're going. There is no doubt about it. You all know that. They must create an excuse to flip the switch. We are in a multi-crisis environment right now. The world economy contracting at its fastest pace on record. Global debt ballooning at its fastest pace on record. The issue is liquidity. You all know that. Can you guys hear me okay? I hope so. Liquidity is drying up. We all know that. We're in a full-blown world engulfing liquidity crisis. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate that. So every mechanism, and you and I have discussed this for years, that they could come up with, dream about, fantasize about, or even force you to have a nightmare over, like an apocalyptic event, and we're going to talk more about that in a moment, will be utilized to allow the system to inflate. We have world leaders today, all of them, working directly with their central banks to allow them all collectively to fulfill their goal. Wealth is being shoved up to the 1% and 2%ers at a pace we've never seen in history before. That wealth is being stolen directly from the economy and obviously from the middle class. It doesn't get created out of nothing. It must be moved from one group of people to another group of people. You understand what I'm saying? This effect is going to become more pronounced as more debt is pumped into the system. You understand? That's really all this is. The timing of this is no accident. Why this new war, which is expanding, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment, is happening right now. It's not because of anything else other than the liquidity crisis. A currency crisis. We have a currency crisis around the world. You all know that. Central banks are in a race to the bottom. We're being destroyed. It's very, very simple. Nothing is what it appears to be at face value. You understand? When you hear a politician or whoever it might be, they want you to look over here and they're out there screaming from some podium about what has to happen. You have to look behind it. What's here? You guys and girls who have been with me are extremely well versed on what's going on and why things are the way they are. What's happening here, especially in the United States, they're capitalizing on what many people have as an apocalyptic vision. You have to understand, look, man, you guys and girls can take this any way you want here, but the evangelical vote is what really got Trump in here. Okay. Most of these people, and I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill kind of Christians, Catholics, or whatever religion you might be. I'm talking about those who possess an extremist mentality. And this is not just here in the United States. Iran, obviously, the Middle East, they have their own, everywhere around the world has their group of extremism. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. And they all have a common denominator. The common denominator is an apocalyptic vision for which they want to be a part of. This is a fact. If you guys and girls are taking this the wrong way, it's on you. It's not on me. I'm telling you the truth here. You should maybe look into this a little bit. But that's what we have here in the United States. And it's an extremist view, and maybe even apocalyptic view, along with a lot of the Middle Eastern philosophy as well. Look, I'm not calling out any particular group of people here, but I'm telling you, if you look at a bell curve, there are people more or less that fall in the middle, but there's extremists on either end. And right now, it seems like the world is being overrun by extremists, religious extremists, which is the greatest evil in my view, and threat to the world at this time. Why? Because of the commonality of the apocalyptic view of these kinds of people, no matter what faith they may follow. And we are being thrust in that direction. You understand? It really is the way it's going. And a lot of people don't care. They want to be part of it. Those that group of people around the world, again, no matter what religion they're following, the common denominator is apocalyptic. You understand? And there are some that are fostering this, that want this. They want to be a part of it, and they will do what they need to do, what they feel is right, to bring about biblical prophecy. That's extremism. You understand? And that's what we have, unfortunately. And this is going to lead to death, suffering, pain on a biblical level. I really hope we're on the same page. Honestly, it should make sense to you what I'm saying. Anyway, we're gonna go. We'll maybe address that a little bit more in just a little bit. But you have to understand what's happening right now is not what it appears to be. President Trump taking a lot of heat lately for the market falling. I have been telling you this is a normal correction, and the White House actually. You know what? Let me see if I have it here. Yes, I believe I got it right here for you. Here. The Trump administration says this is a healthy stock market correction. I've been telling you that. That's all this is. And then there's, you turn on YouTube, and I know there's a lot of YouTubers, some of you watch all the time, are telling you this is a crash. And it's not a crash. The real crash is going to begin and end in the debt market. What they needed here was to, again, find a way. Thank you, Clemente. I appreciate that. To reinvigorate the stock market, no better way than to vastly expand debt. Again, this war, this is going to be protracted. This is not just going to stop in a day or two. This is going to go on for many, many weeks. And if Iran already has had a target on it for many, 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 many years here. Again, it's part of the apocalyptic vision here. They have their own, believe me, those over there in Iran and other parts of the Middle East, of their vision of an apocalyptic end, just as those extremists here in the United States do. Right now, the world is being controlled by extremism and in some kind of a nationalism. It's a very, very interesting dynamic to study, and it's in play right now. There is no doubt about it. And this, again, is about the commonality of again, this group around the world, and again, every religion has this apocalyptic end, and there are people that are pushing it right now, and I think unfortunately that's where we're going, and many people are going to suffer who don't need to, but these people are pushing it. They want it to happen now. What if they want to foster a second coming, or whatever it might be, whatever their vision may be. You understand? Anyway, so what we're seeing here is no accident. The timing here is to stop the bleeding in the stock market. Is it going to work? It's working today. Again, on top of, now let me just show you this. Again, I want you to look at the major stock market indices here. We had gains pretty much across the board. This is the economic news. U.S. retail sales disappoint. This is today. U.S. retail sales come in below expectations. Nobody saw this coming, further increasing the possibility that the economy is moving towards recession. Moving towards recession? Okay, here we go. Home builder sentiment drops to a 7-month low. Washington, Reuters, U.S. homebuilder sentiment dropped to a 7-month low in March as tariffs on imported materials raised construction costs. Another piece of bad economic news. Here's round number 3. Bad economic news. U.S. growth outlook cut on Middle East conflict, U.S. policy uncertainty, and tariffs. The U.S. economic growth outlook was lowered on Monday by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development due to policy uncertainty, impact from tariffs, and increasing tensions in the Middle East. Up goes the stock market. Now, let's move forward. So again, all that bad economic news led to this. That is because, again, what's happening here is what you and I knew about from I don't know how far back you want to go. Vast debt expansion. We're not going to save anything. All of those of you that are cheering for Doge, we are going to be so deeply in debt. Again, debts and deficits are going to balloon here beyond your wildest dreams. People are going to sit back and go, but hold on a minute. Wasn't Doge supposed to save us money? It's a game. You're being played like a puppet. That's all you are. You're a means to an end and you don't matter. You have to understand. I hope you get it. Now, wait a minute. On the back of that, I want you to see this. I want you to see this. Despite everything, the dollar still is irrelevant. There's no knee-jerk here into the dollar, despite saber rattling, despite a war, a new war. Many of you believe that NATO, because President Trump right now today is on the phone looking for coalition partners to participate in this Houthis Yemen conflict, and more than likely this is going to bleed off to Iran. Again, apocalyptic. You have to understand that's what we're dealing with here. Anyway, but no knee-jerk here into the dollar. The dollar is irrelevant. The United States is becoming irrelevant. The 10-year yield, not too much movement here. Pretty much flat. Commodities. Now, why are not commodities rising in this environment? You would expect, if the market knows, and you know, that we are going to see vast debt expansion here. Why are commodities not booming here? Because, again, they're trying to foster another risk on, meaning, pushing cash into the stock market on the back of vast debt expansion. That's really what this comes down to. It's no surprise. Again, right now, you guys and girls know this. The market's on, there's no reality. It's floating on oceans of debt, which are going to get deeper as the new war progresses, as more Middle East participants are pushed into a new apocalyptic war. Again, led by extremism here in the United States and all over the world. Let us move forward here. You got crypto's doing pretty well. Now, I want to show you a couple of other things before we get to the real meat and potatoes here. Now, I want you to look at the way this is worded, and I'm going to clarify this for you. This is Barron's. Junk bond spreads rose to the highest level in 6 months. What it means for the markets. Forget about the markets. I'm going to decipher my hieroglyphics over here. Yeah, my handwriting is pretty bad. I'm going to decipher this, but it's not really about the markets. These spreads are widening, not because of the effect of the market. Let me look at what I wrote here, but it's about the economy. So I wrote here, large spreads in the junk bonds here. This is a tell that the economy, not so much the markets. So they want you to think it's just about the markets, because there's no connection anymore. You know this, Jonathan. Thank you. There's no connection at all between the markets and the economy. The markets are floating on the destruction or are hoping on further destruction of the middle class and the economy that'll boost the stock market. But these spreads in bond yields, or anybody who has even the slightest clue about finance and economics realizes that what I'm saying is true. It's not about the markets. It's about the economy. These widening spreads is fear about the economy, not so much the markets where they want you to look. You understand? I still say, again, what did I write? Expect debt expansion war to prop up stocks. You probably can't read that. expect vast debt expansion. And then I wrote over there, if you can read it, war to prop up stocks. So that's what's going on here. Now, this is from the Times of Israel. And I want to read this to you. Today, U.S. piles pressure on Yemen's Houthis with fresh airstrikes, fresh ones. Now, this is their wording. It's not Greg Mannarino. The Iran-backed terror group in Yemen faces increasing pressure from U.S. airstrikes. The United States has carried out new airstrikes on Yemen Monday, expanding these strikes to 2 port cities, which are now being targeted. U.S. officials say this campaign could go on for weeks. Imagine our shock. Now, breaking. President Trump says Iran will be held responsible. President Trump says Iran will be held responsible for Houthi strikes, warns of dire consequences. U.S. President Trump on Monday today blamed Iran for Houthi attacks on American aircraft. I guess American aircraft are being targeted, warning that any further aggression would be met with great force. People, look, man, this is what I'm talking about. We are being led, again, by world extremism here, and extremism here in the United States to an apocalyptic end. And this is not the majority. You have to understand that. It's the minority that have this vision, and we're being thrust into it. And there's going to be suffering on a scale. If we, let me just do this. I asked AI this is AI. This is not one single word of this is mine, about the potential fallout between the U.S. and Iran military conflict. Let me read some of this to you. I do not agree with all of this. I do not agree. I'm not saying I'm any smarter than AI, okay? I don't think so. But we can all have our own opinion, right? You're entitled to your own opinion as well. I want to go through this with you, and I'm going to tell you what I disagree with, all right? So here we go. So this is what AI said. I asked AI to outline the potential fallout of a direct military conflict between the United States and Iran. 1, geopolitical fallout, wider Middle East conflict. This is AI. I'll tell you when I don't agree. Iran has strong regional allies and militias in Iraq and Syria, and a U.S. attack could trigger retaliatory strikes across the region. The Strait of Hormuz disruption. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping lane for global oil. If Iran retaliates by blocking or mining the strait, it could choke off 20% of the world's oil supply. I had no idea about that. Again, this is AI. It knows these kind of details, causing severe energy price spikes. Retaliation against U.S. allies. Iran could target Israel, Saudi Arabia, and United States bases in the Middle East with missile strikes and drone attacks. Increased Russian and Chinese involvement. Iran has military and economic ties with both Russia and China. If attacked, Iran could receive direct or indirect military aid, further complicating global tensions and asymmetric warfare. I want to add asymmetric warfare to this. Obviously, this includes cyber attacks. Anyway, economic and market impact. Crude oil prices skyrocket. This is AI. Oil prices could surge above 100 plus per barrel, causing inflationary pressure globally. Stock market volatility. Here's where I differ with AI here. Am I saying there would not be volatility? Let me read this, and then I'm going to tell you my take. So AI is saying stock market volatility. U.S. and global stock markets would likely, that's what AI said, sell off sharply due to fears of economic instability. I'm going to say this. I think the prospect would actually and potentially boost the markets. I'm no permabull here. But what I do understand that maybe AI doesn't know, which I doubt, is more war is going to require sums of cash to be borrowed into existence on a scale that would be, well, you could look at the U.S. debt right now and watch it double within a year or two. It would skyrocket beyond anyone's dreams. And that may be enough to hyperinflate, actually, the stock market. We could see the market go higher. You understand? I'm not saying this is a lock, but this is where I disagree with AI here. I think that, yeah, you're saying the markets could sell off substantially. But I don't, my take is more debt, as you can see today, as an example, is stopping the bleeding in the stock market. That's what this is all about. For those of you that have been duped and lied to, okay, you've been lied to. Admit it, please, okay? This is not about terrorism. This is not about attacks in over there on shipping. It's not. This is a mechanism to prop up the stock market because President Trump and whoever else doesn't like to see this bleeding here. They want to stop the bleeding in the stock market. What better way to do that? War, and more war. Are we all on the same page? This is, again, nothing. If you really believe this is about terrorism, then you will obviously, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It has nothing to do with terrorism. It has nothing to do with stopping attacks on ships. A lot of you believe it. Face value. This must be the truth right here because I'm reading it and it's coming out of a politician's mouth. It's not true. You must learn to think outside the box. When you realize that the wealth transfer effect is still on, you're not done being erased. You're not done being eliminated here. The 2%ers, they're going to get massively rich off of all of this. And that wealth must be stolen from the economy and you. You get it? Are we all on the same page? How many of you have the guts to admit that maybe you believed that this really was about terrorism? This is about shipping lanes, keeping them safe. Has nothing to do with it. Zero. Okay, or maybe 1%. All right, it's about propping up the markets, stopping the bleeding here. Henceforth, why this is happening now. There's no accident. This is obvious. It's too obvious, obviously. But this is about pumping the system with more debt to allow the central banks, in this case the Fed, to vastly inflate and get vastly stronger. We're being bridged into a new system, people. Why do you think we're adding cryptocurrencies to the U.S. strategic reserves? We're not adding gold. We're not adding silver. We're adding cryptocurrencies here. Do you see where we're going here? Full tokenization, a system of control that is biblical. Let us move forward here. Gold and silver surge. This is AI. Investors would rush to safe haven assets, including gold and silver prices. Hold on a minute. While I agree with AI here, if in fact we start to see, okay, the Fed says we're at war, we need to start cutting rates, we need to start stimulating here, what's that going to do? That's going to push bond yields lower, that's going to foster a rally in the stock market. Cash has to come from somewhere. Instead of going into commodities, it will come out and end up going into the stock market. People, this is where it's going to go. This is where it's going to go. I think here, again, you and I have a better perspective on this than this AI thing. I'm just going over what AI is saying. I'm not saying that eventually we're going to see the price of commodities go to the moon and back about 25 times. But again, the meltdown is the debt market. It's not the stock freaking market. Until the debt market melts down, you're going to see fluctuations in the stock market, but the debt market right now, via the mechanism of a new war, okay, you're being lied to, man, is going to, again, foster a vast debt expansion, which is positive for the stock market, very negative for, obviously, the purchasing power of the currency, and therefore the economy. Are we on the same page here? So far, let's recap. How many of you, okay, of the nearly 2,000 people say Greg has nailed this to the wall? If I haven't, tell me I got it wrong. I'm very curious to see what you guys say. Am I right? Or do you believe I am wrong? Yep. It's kind of what I thought. We're on the same page. Anyway, let's move forward. Supply chain disruptions. Given Iran's strategic trade partnerships, a prolonged conflict could cause further disruptions in the supply chain. I've been telling you guys in this for weeks, man. Get used to it. That's where we're going. We're being shut down. This apocalyptic vision by extremism here in the United States, which seems to be running the show, and lies. Where do lies come from? You want to go off on a biblical thing here? We got lies, more distractions, more deceptions. And it's these same people who claim to be, closer to God, really? Make it up, man. Potential cyber warfare, as I said earlier, asymmetrical war. Iran has strong cyber capabilities and could retaliate with cyber attacks, infrastructure, banks, and government agencies. Again, this is all AI. Political and military ramifications, massive U.S. military deployment. A war with Iran would not be quick or easy. The United States would need significant military presence to counter Iranian forces. Where's the cash come from? One guess, and you better get it right. Public opinion and political divide. A direct military conflict could divide the American public opinion, affecting elections and policy decisions. Nuclear proliferation risk. If Iran is attacked, it might accelerate efforts to obtain nuclear weapons as a deterrent. Final thought. This is AI, man. It's kind of crazy. A direct U.S. military attack on Iran would be a global game changer, causing economic instability, energy shocks, and increased geopolitical risk. It's an incredible thing. It really, really is. So you guys and girls, look, man. You guys and girls, I rely on you. I'm going to tell you what's a real shame. Do you realize we only have 1,600 people here right now? They can't handle the truth. People cannot handle the truth. You throw this much truth at them and they get blind. You see, people who believe the truth that they're hearing, they're in complete darkness. Even a speck of light is enough to blind them. I want you to think about what I'm saying. Even a speck of light in darkness is enough to blind people. They can't hear it. They don't want to hear it. They refuse to face it. But again, in their hearts, I'm telling you, they realize that everything we've covered today is true. Everything is true. Now, with that said, you want to say the Lord's Prayer? Please be my guest here. I think we all need to pray, people. I believe in the power of prayer. Nobody believes in that more than I after what happened to my sister. My sister being absolutely cured from terminal cancer. Okay, you guys and girls did that. You guys and girls did that. It's the truth. I don't know what God some people are praying to and wishing for this apocalyptic end to come and fostering it, because that's what we have here. It's some kind of extremism right now. And this, I mean, look, man, is this, let me say this before we stop, because I want to take some questions. You guys and girls who have been with me, I told you for many, many, many months ago, and I was ridiculed. I lost subs. I mean, I told everyone that war would not stop. I told everyone war would accelerate if President Trump were selected. That's the truth. That's what I said. You all know that. Period. Okay, you don't think, first of all, look, man, you think this really would have mattered? It's not a president pulling the strings here. I think we can all pretty much agree here. This is central banks who run the world. They're the ones funding this whole thing. All wars are banker wars. Where are we getting the cash for this military event happening right now that a lot of you don't believe is a war? Oh, Greg, you're wrong. This is not a war. This is not a war. It's a conflict. What's a conflict? Conflict is it's not a war. Why? Because President Trump didn't declare war. We don't declare war anymore. This is a war. If we were being bombarded right now, you would consider that an act of war, wouldn't you? So for those of you that keep telling me, Greg, this is not a war, and I'm putting out fake information, tell me how this is not a war. Okay, what? Because Congress didn't approve it? Congress doesn't know their rear end from anything else here. Are you freaking kidding me? Again, we're being run by a bunch of lunatics on a massive scale. This is whatever this is now. This is unrecognizable. This is not the United States of America anymore in any way, shape, or form. This has turned into a dystopian kind of extremism kind of thing, and of course, we're all going to pay for it. It's pretty obvious, you know. Anyway, look, man. Like I was saying, we nailed this one to the wall, you and me. Okay, those of you who were with me and said, Greg, you're 100% right. I told you we were going to see vast debt expansion via any mechanism they could come up with. I told you this from years and years ago. And I told you recently, I told you that we would see more war under President Trump, along with vast debt expansion. Oh, Greg, you don't know what you're talking about. That's that extremist group. They refuse. They can't. And even with presented with clear evidence, they will still deny it. You understand? This is the greatest threat, a clear and present danger to the survival. Extremism in any form is a clear and present danger to the survival of the human race on this planet. That's the truth. All right, Jonathan, thank you. Anyway, guys and girls, you want to talk about anything before we get out of here? We covered a lot here, okay? I really do hope that you guys and girls share this stuff. Talk about the things that we've covered here. Did I make sense to you? I know that 90% of you out here, and there are some, are not extremists. And do see things for what they actually are, and are willing to say, you know what, look, man, this is following exactly the pathway that you and I have said it would. Go back as far as you want to go. Do you think that gives you and I a little bit of credibility here? I think so. I think our credibility is freaking off the Richter scale right now because we nail it. I mean, I'm not saying that me particularly, I'm right 100% of the time, but I'm saying I'm right more than 90% of the time. And that's not because I'm smarter than anybody. It's because I study this stuff around the clock. We call their moves before they happen nearly all the time. 90% of the time or better. We're able to say what they're going to do before they do it because we know what their grand plan is. Their grand plan here is, again, central banks being allowed to inflate, central banks being allowed to finish their goal. The corporate agenda will be fulfilled via the military-industrial complex or whatever other mechanism they can come up with by taking people who, again, are unable to see the truth and twisting their mind into some type of false belief system. Does this sound biblical to you? Because it is. Because it is. You know, I was a deacon at my church years ago, and I would try to talk to people about this stuff. I couldn't get through to them. It was unbelievable. How can I tell you, man? It is what it is. It's just completely nuts. Anyway, guys, it goes Vega. Vega is doing better. Her eyes are doing better. She's old. She's having ataxia, which means she can't walk too well. She's got a lot of neurologic issues, unfortunately. Anyway, guys and girls, is there anything else you guys want at Coco? Coco's doing great too. Vega's doing okay considering what's happening here, guys and girls. And I appreciate all your thoughts and prayers for Vega because it worked. It really, every time she gets really, really bad, I ask you guys and girls to kind of, get together and pray, and it seems to work. You're absolutely right. All dogs do go to heaven, man. You're actually, Patriot Girl 1, no one can think critically anymore. There's a reason for that. Do you see what the statement that she made? Patriot Girl 1, it's 100% true. People have been so dumbed down, they can't see what's going on. Obvious truths, they can't see it. They just are incapable of it. It's an unfortunate thing. It really, really is. That people are so easily duped. Right up until the last days of World War II, when the German cities were nothing but rubble, the German people believed that they were winning the war because that's what the media at that time was telling them. It's all propaganda. It's propaganda here now. This war is not about terrorism. It's not about shipping lanes. It's about inflating the debt to prop up the stock market to stop the bleeding because President Trump's frankly sick of seeing the market drop. And where this goes from here, it's apocalyptic, man. It's apocalyptic. All right, guys and girls, we're out of here. I love you guys and girls with all I got. I mean that. I really, really mean it. I want to congratulate you. Those of you that have sat through this 34-minute video with me right now, I believe. Now, look, man, you guys and girls are absolutely 100% entitled to disagreeing with some of what I said or all of what I said. And your comments will remain here. I can promise you that, okay? They're not being removed. There's a lot of nonsense talk about that. Comments are not being removed. If they're being removed, it's not by me. It's not by my moderators. It's by YouTube, which is possible. John said, thank you. Gold and silver, 100%, bro. You know that. More importantly than even in that, people, we need each other so badly. We need to come together so badly. We need to realize the lies, the tales, the distractions, the deceptions that I've been telling you to look out for since I don't know how freaking long. But you get it. I know I'm preaching to the choir, people, but we need to grow this family here. How can we do that? It's you. You guys and girls must, and I'm going to plead with you to please share this video. Get it out there. You understand? Madison 32 has Tiggs to a very high degree. Trump is God syndrome. You can see what she wrote here for her $2. Thanks for the $2. It's a bad case you got there, Madison 32. I think you should seek help. I really, really do. It's interesting how they attack me. They can't attack the message. See Madison right there? I'm glad she wrote that because it shows you they attack the messenger when they can't attack the message. Does that tell you guys and girls something? You're going to see more of that. Maybe even from Madison or from someone else here. They attack the messenger when they can't attack the message. You understand? This is a common theme going back on history as far as you want to go. It's absolutely the truth. But expect more of that. If you write something that that again, the light blinds them, you get hit with something like that. They don't want to hear the message. They're going to attack you, the messenger, just like they attack me. And that's fine. Let them do it. Let them do it. All it does is help the algorithms for me. So I leave all those comments. I write back to them. You know that when I see it, it's good for the blog. You know what I mean? It really, really is. Let them comment. Their comments will stay here. Guys and girls, I'm going to get out of here. Please give this video a thumbs up if I've earned it, and I appreciate that as well. All right. I will see you guys in the morning. I think we covered this may be one of the most important videos that I've ever done. Just thinking, I don't know what I'm going to say. Do you realize I have no idea what I'm going to say? When I come out here, I have my little papers and I just kind of talk, man. Because I'm real. I tell you how I feel in the inside. And I'm not reading a script or a teleprompter like that the politicians do. They turn this way. What is it telling me to say? What's the script say that I have to read? Oh, that's what it says. Then they turn this way and they pretend they're not looking at the teleprompter for the TV. If you notice, when you see let's say a president here, any president, could be Trump, could be the last mummified creature. The camera doesn't show the teleprompters on the side. It shows just them looking side to side as if they're looking at the audience. But what they're really doing is they're looking at the teleprompters. They're going like that. You can't see that. Obama was probably the king of teleprompters. Trump is the king of teleprompters. Now, if you look, all of it is this. It's kind of an interesting thing to see. But I'm a real person, man. I'm a guy, and I'm talking to you guys and girls live right now. Is just trying to put a perspective on these things. Understand? All right, look, I'm out of here. I could go on and on. See you in the morning. Please get this video out there. I appreciate it. I don't think it's going to do too well. We only got 1,500 people here right now. That's why we need to try to engage people at a deeper level. All right, let's hope it happens. All right, love you all. See you in the morning.